Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen, and I got a mystery parcel delivered. It is from the Great 53 Frogs, you can see the sticker there, and if we just whip it open quickly, you can see here, this is the optical dopping set that he's recently come up with. Someone sent me a link to this asking me what I thought about it when it first came out, and that was, a little while ago, like a week or two, not very long. And I meant to send Riley a message, because I've never played with this. Riley's come up with this himself, and it's interesting. I am willing to give it a go, but I haven't tried it. This is literally the first time I'm seeing it now. We've just ripped this out of the packet. And you know what? Instead of just doing an unboxing video, I'm going to get this stuff out. So here you can see this is the glue bottle. We've got 3 different dopping stick sizes. Now I did see Riley's video on this. I can't remember what he said they were. I think it's like 3mm, 7mm, 10mm, something like that. So 3 different sizes. I like the purple on the big one. I might as well just go ahead and quickly chuck a stone on one of these, just to prove how easy it is. So he's done this because so many people complain about the dopping wax. I myself use a mixture of super glue, 5-minute epoxy and dopping wax depending on how I feel on the day and what the stone is. But this method here with this UV glue is meant to be almost like a pretty instant bond. I mean, on the bottle it says 5-second glue, so that's a good start. And it's also meant to be strong, but also really easy to get off. And of course, no heat, so mega simple. Maybe not quite as simple as super glue, but maybe it holds on a little bit better. So just to prove how easy it is, this is the first time I'm seeing it. Let's give it a crack. Let me find a stone. Alright, didn't take me long. I've got stones lying all over the table. This one's already got a flat back. It's a little piece of boulder. It's fairly porous. Normally I would use, well, any of them would stick really well to this. I probably wouldn't use super glue because the more porous it is, it tends to let go a little bit, the super glue. So this would be an epoxy or a wax job, but we're going to go ahead and use this. Now I did watch the video that Riley put up with this and how to do it, but it was a while ago. All I remember is chuck a drop on, slap the two together, shine the little UV light. I'll just cover it so I can't see it directly. There you go, UV light. It actually doesn't look the right color when you're looking at it like that, but there you go. It is definitely a UV light. Now this one looks a bit like a kid's toy. And I'm not saying that to be insulting or anything. I just think we are better off using Mr. Riley Gunn's very own 3-way light. Alright, so you can barely even see it there, but the UV setting on this one is quite a bit stronger. I will say that just because you can't see so much purple light doesn't mean that the UV is worse or better. That light is actually visible. That's the visible part of the spectrum, so bordering on the UV. But you can actually get UV lights where you really don't see much of that purple coloring at all. We'll try this one. We'll stick to the kit and we'll just use the one that's been supplied with it. Let me just get, there's a little syringy, really sharp nozzle that comes with the kit. But I think I'm just going to drop straight out of the bottle because I'm assuming it goes to a pretty pointy end. Let's do this all in one take. So yeah, it goes to a pretty pointy end. We should just be able to put a drop on here. Of course, it's most likely sealed. It is sealed, isn't it? Give me a sec and I will cut this one off. Alright, so I've just snipped the end of this off. I'll just chuck a drop somewhere in the middle. Now this one can fit the green dop stick. It's nice that he's given me 3 different sizes here. I'm assuming this is just the standard kit that he basically sells. I'm not sure how much to put on. So currently you can see I've not put very much on at all. We'll see if it spreads once I push the stick up against it. I reckon we just chuck a little bit more on. I don't want to use too much. But if this was super glue, I'd be adding a lot more on. So yeah, just a few drops. Now I've probably overshot. So you're going to grab the green stick, hold it up against there, and you can see that it's a little bit tacky. It's a little bit tacky. Tacky enough for you to press the stone on and then get it to kind of sit in place. But this is definitely not setting. We'll just give it some time just to make sure that it doesn't start setting. No, so it's definitely not hardening up. Let's chuck the stone on like this and then get the little light, turn it on. Now it says 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not really going to time it. I'm just going to shine it on there. Now that's been a really short time and it's not... Oh, actually. Oh, wow. I mean, I've used UV resins before Okay, alright. That has proper already set. So 5 seconds is no joke. So make sure you get it positioned correctly before you chuck the UV on it, because that is instant. Definitely don't use this outside, because you will be setting immediately. Now I'll give it a little bit more time to give it a proper bond. I'm guessing you really do have to use the glass dop sticks for this. Glass is not my favourite thing for a dop stick. It's definitely not something I choose to use now. But I suppose for this, because you need that UV light to be able to penetrate and get to that interface between the stone and the dop, you are going to need to stick with these glass ones. I might try this on a wood or a metal nail or something later. I'll really put this glue through its paces, but for now, like, we've been talking for a bit, and like that should be at maximum hold. Now if I were to be carving, I would be applying a pressure kind of equivalent to this while I'm grinding sinter diamond burr around. I'll really have to press hard on a stone at some point. If you're on a cabbing wheel, you'd be pressuring a little bit more like this. Wow, no, that's locked on. Let's see if I can get it off. I don't know what the recommended method of getting it off is. I'm a little worried because the dop stick is glass. No, that's just a little bit of plastic stuck to the side. It's definitely glass. If I poke my nail... Okay, that's set so much. That's set like a full cure epoxy. That's now I'm wondering if I can get this stone off. I wonder if the freezer trick would work. Oh, there we go. Alright. So that's come off with a lot of force, and you can see here that a little bit of the boulder roughness on the back there has come off with it. So the glue has fully remained stuck to the dop stick. On the opal itself, you can see there a little bit of a glossy ring where the overflow spillage of the glue went. I wonder how easy it is to get off here and clean up. Oh, it's super weird. It's super weird, but look at that. It comes off. I mean, it's really holding on, but it is coming off. I think this is like when you use a setting spray with super glue, but it actually comes off more jelly-like than what the super glue does. That turns into like a pretty hard biscuit until you soak it in water. This is no water, and I recently cut my fingernail, so I don't have much in the way of fingernails helping me out, but this is coming off. There it is. So now the dopping stick is clean, the stone is clean, and all I've got is this little disc of really stretchy elastic, but not sticky. So it has cured. That is super cool. I think if I were to rank this just off that single test, I'd be using this over the super glue any day of the week. Just because of how strong that held. Not even the super glue holds that strong, so it's got a stronger bind than the super glue. Yeah, you have to shine a light at it for 5 seconds to be able to get it to hold, whereas super glue you just have to kind of hold it in place, and once it stops doing that wiggle movement, I mean that probably still takes 5 seconds, 10 seconds on its own anyway, so this UV light is actually just as fast as wax and super glue. And it had a hold similar to epoxy, maybe a little bit weaker. Eventually I got it to let go. I don't know if it would be so easy to get it off if it wasn't on such a porous kind of sandy boulder matrix. That ironstone host matrix stone is very easy to lose grip on, especially with the super glue. The epoxy doesn't care. The wax can sometimes give up. So for a little bit of a tougher stone to dop, it's worked out quite well with no heat, no holding for a long time. The epoxy, I typically leave stones sitting there like this with the dop stick sticking up for many minutes, and then after that I'll just stand it up and let it solidify overnight. So this had a very good hold after 5 seconds. I put the UV on it a little bit longer afterwards, and I was worried there for a second that I wasn't going to be able to get it off without breaking this. This is the biggest part that I'm scared of. I don't know how strong these things actually are. Even the bigger headed dop stick, the 10mm, or at least I think it's a 10mm, the handle is still the same kind of thickness. So I am a little bit scared of snapping glass. But you know what? I've got to say I'm pleasantly surprised by this. Is it the future of dopping? Don't know. I'm going to have to use it a little bit more. See if it'll beat my favorite, the epoxy. Because of the speed of it, there's definitely times where I can use this where I can't use the epoxy. But then the question is, does it beat wax and does it beat super glue? I think it can beat wax for sure. Super glue tends to be used more than wax for me. But yeah, super interesting to really test it out. I need to test it on dozens of stones before I can be confident. But right now, is it the future of dopping? Possibly. I'm definitely not going to discard it straight away. It is super cool. It looks super cool. The biggest thing I see is that this is a glass material. Maybe there's a way that we could make a handle that's not glass and just have this part as the transparent glass for the UV to penetrate through. And then this part can be, I don't know, like even a metal rod that can go into the glass or something. Then you just break this little glass head and then you replace it. This one I feel like is a little bit scary for me when I was giving it a good twist there. Really good length, the perfect length actually. Riley's decided on the length really well. It's definitely usable. I'm gonna I might chuck that same stone back on. I've got a couple others that I need to work on, so they can do with a dot, might as well. And I just need to test all the different types of opals a dozen times each on these and yeah, see how they go. So far, pleasantly surprised, and you'll probably see these on the channel, and if you do, they are Riley Guns optical dopping set. His dopping kit, and I think it's about 20 bucks on the Opal Auctions website, so definitely check it out. I will be exploring it further. Feel free to hold off until I've given a final verdict on it, but yeah, as you can see, it works. It definitely works, and it beats superglue probably. Super fast, super easy. I didn't even read any instructions. I just watched a video a while ago and can't remember it, and still managed to pull it off. Definitely foolproof. Give me some time to test it a bit more, and I'll get back to you. But on that note, I'm gonna line up a bunch of stones and test them one by one. Hopefully I'll have a full report for you in the near future. Catch you then.